everybody, this is John Kager here at Verify That Sports. Tonight I got a special guest, my best friend from high school, Sean Dayton.
How's it going? Big Seahawk fan here.
Huge
We're going to verify their game this week, but Kager might not disagree. They play the Titans, so it should be an easy win.
Should be, maybe. I don't know. The Titans have been getting hot as of late. Sean's done very well in a pick'em pool league that I play in, and I think, his expertise would be valuable to bring onto the show tonight. So we're going to go through week NFL 16 action. First, we got the Thursday night game. Sean, we got the Saints traveling to the Rams. Who do you got and why?
I got the Saints. They're coming off a 2-game win streak. They are against weak opponents. I think it was against the Giants possibly, and then one other team, which are pretty crappy teams, but I think they're on a hot streak. Their defense is looking good. They're both fighting for a playoff spot, so I think both teams are going to be giving it their all. I think the Saints are going to go for upset. I was thinking the Raiders because that's where Carr used to play. I think Carr's going to do it.
Wow. I got – that is a really bold prediction, man. Are you willing to verify that?
I'll verify that. That's a Thursday night game. Anything could happen.
All right, Sean's going to verify that. He got the Saints over Rams. I got the Rams. The Rams are the favorite, obviously. They're at home. Rams don't lose at home very often. The Rams, second half of the season has really come on, getting a new running back with Kyron Williams, replacing Cam Akers. The Saints, Sean does have some solid points, are starting to get in a little bit of a flow. Derek Carr's been a little banged up. I mean, the weapons are there for the Saints. I just don't feel like the Saints travel well as a team, and the Rams defend their home turf very well. So I got to go with the public opinion here. I'm going Rams, and Sean's going to verify the Saints are going to upset the Rams at SoFi Thursday night.
I gotta have multiple verifies, right?
Oh yeah. There's no limit. It's your all-time win-loss record. It's like a shooting percentage, right? So like if you want to shoot that three, you better make it, right? Because if you're not shooting at least 40%, you're not going to keep the NBA contract. So that's basically what this is. We're just trying to keep track of your win percentage.
Shooters got to shoot.
Shooters got to shoot, baby.
10% shooting percentage.
Awesome. Sean's coming out the gate hot. First take. His first take is going to be a verified upset of the Saints. I love it. All right, next we got the Buffalo Bills traveling to the LA Chargers. I will be there live in the third row this Saturday. Who do you got?
You're going to witness the ass whooping, I think. The Bills are going to smoke the Chargers, especially after the Chargers' last game where they got smoked by the Raiders. So they have a new coach coming in that might give them a little juice, but I don't think enough juice to pull it out over the Bills.
I'm right there with you. I got the Bills. The Bills were my preseason, Super Bowl contender that I felt was going to come out of the AFC. They've had a couple, they just never got in flow. They got rid of Ken Dorsey halfway through the season. Josh Allen's kind of been a turnover machine. He's starting to clean it up a little bit. I like that, they're trying to emphasize the run and have Josh Allen be in less mistake-prone positions. So I feel like the coaching has really cleaned up, knowing they have this gunslinger of a quarterback. I'm excited for this one just as an NFL fan. Josh Allen's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL.
That'll be fun to witness live.
Dude, I cannot wait to watch him live, man. That's like one player I haven't seen live yet that I'm just super stoked on. But yeah, my Chargers are going to get dog-walked at SoFi. So
what is this, you're a Charger and a Rams fan?
I'm a Chargers
bandwagon fan.
I'm a Chargers season ticket holder because they're the cheaper ticket between them and the Rams.
I'm pretty sure you were cheering for the Rams last season.
I bounce back and forth. I don't have any allegiance.
We need Kager to verify his team allegiance. That's what we need to verify.
Normally, I try to pick one team at the beginning of the season and ride it out. But yeah, the Chargers, I just, this is my first year of season tickets. Obviously I was a little disappointed with Staley. They shouldn't even brought him back after that playoff loss, to be honest. But they should have gave him a super short leash, 4 games. This season could have been a whole different ball game. But
what were they up 28-0 in the playoffs or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 27-28, and the Jags came back and beat them. Like, I just think that's a indication of how bad of a coach you are if you can't maintain a lead that strong, especially if you're defensive side of the ball head coach, Like, all you have to do is ground and pound, milk clock, and limit the damage of the other team, So
Yeah.
I felt like he should never have came back. Or if they did, they should have gave him only 4 games to prove himself and have a next coach lined up. Kind of like Chris Broussard said. But
is that a good strategy when you have a big lead? I mean, look at the Falcons or look at the Chargers. I think you should just keep sticking to what got you to that lead, so you don't get too stagnant. And once you get shocked if the team starts coming back, you're out of your flow, and then you have to reset everything. I mean, I think there's an argument for just keep the pedal to the metal. Don't run the ball. Just keep doing your same strategy. Just to where you were.
No, I think you do have a solid point. I think, like, as a coach, when you have a lead, especially a big lead like that,
you don't want to get too stagnant.
You can't get too stagnant. You can't get too predictable. You got to put your defense in good positions, right? I would almost argue that the defensive philosophy should stay the same because whatever you were doing got those stops, right? But a lot of times I see NFL teams, when they get big, cushy leads like that, they drop back into cover 4. They let you just throw outs and comebacks in front of their face and try to...
Easy 10-yard passes every time.
Yeah, and they just give up a lot of stuff in front of their face where it's like you got that lead by doing whatever it was, right? Whether you're man and jam, blitzing a lot, whatever. But basically, defenses get way too soft with leads. I feel like defenses should stay aggressive. Offense just got to be smart. Like, some drives be like, you know what? We want to play for a 12-play drive here. And we want to kick the field goal, and we want to waste 6 minutes, like we want to be smart, not just handoffs every time. Use the art of the deception of the handoff, play action, hit the fullback in the flat. Like, who's going to strategize to guard a fullback, on a play action boot most of the time, unless you got the Niners kid on your team. But yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of times we're seeing leads melt down because coaches aren't being aggressive and doing what it took to get them there. Staley, though, on the other hand, is just... He should never have had the position. He was way head over his heels. He only had 1 year as an offensive coordinator. He's not proven, especially we could have had Brian Daboll, who became the Giants head coach and coach of the year. If he can make things work with Daniel Jones, like, gosh, imagine what he could have done with Herbert. Like, really disappointed we didn't get him. But, hey, at least the Chargers are admitting they made a mistake. They know the season's over. They're cutting ties right away. They're going to rebuild. I'm excited long term because being the ticket holder because, Herbert's going to be a franchise guy for 10 years. I think long term it was the smarter purchase compared to Stafford, who I love Stafford. Like, don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorite guys in the league, but he's only got about a year or 2 left in him. I'm honestly surprised he's still playing. He was pretty banged up when he won that Super Bowl. But yeah, let's move on. Let's get back. Next on Saturday, we got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you got in this AFC North clash?
I have the Bengals. Browning's playing really well. He's a UW guy, so I like him. I have a personal bias towards him. I think he's been playing really good. Steelers haven't. I think they've lost their last 2 games, possibly. I might be wrong.
The Bengals?
No, the Steelers. Have they lost their last 2 games?
Steelers have been on a cold streak. They've been losing a couple games.
Yeah, they lost 3 in a row. They lost to the Colts, Patriots, and Cardinals.
And that
Patriots
Colts
and Cardinals sucks.
Yeah, Patriots and the Cardinals suck. That should never happen. And then that Colts one was just utterly embarrassing too. Like, that was a big loss. So yeah, the Steelers. So you don't think the Steelers are due a win at home?
No, I don't think so. I think Bengals are playing good with their backup, and they look good, and they're still going for a playoff spot. So I'm going with the Bengals.
All right.
Who are you going for?
I'm going to go Bengals as well. I just like the pieces that they got. They're just more proven veterans. I like Joe Mixon. I like Jamar Chase.
Chase is out.
Is he out for sure?
He's on my fantasy. He has a bad shoulder injury. He might be out the rest of the season.
Oh, shit. What about T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd? Are they good?
I believe they're good, yeah. So those are solid 2 and 3 receivers.
Yeah, who could be 1s and 2s in other places? They're just playing behind Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon's been on fire recently. Browning's really coming into his own. Steelers, using this backup quarterback Trubisky, it's terrible. I mean, Kenny Pickett, I don't think was the answer either, but the lack of
Trubisky is definitely not the answer.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not even playing his style of ball that made him okay in the NFL. Like, he doesn't run the ball like he used to on the Bears. So yeah, Steelers they have the talent and the pieces. It's just losing their quarterback and trying to throw in Trubisky. It's just kind of in shambles. Losing those 3 games that you mentioned are just atrocious. I feel like the locker room is just, it's hard to come back from losing to those 3 opponents right now. So, yeah, I got the Bengals on the road coming into Pittsburgh. I know typically with the AFC North, though, it's like wild shit
They're all
happens. And
rivalry
home
games.
teams defend the home very well, but the Steelers team just sucks. Like, they had to fire their offensive coordinator. The quarterback plays atrocious. They don't know how to get their running backs going consistently. They don't even know how to use their receivers, I feel like, very well either. It just doesn't flow. At least the Bengals have an identity, and that's why I got Bengals. Bengals got an identity. They know who they are, and they play well with that. So we got both our Saturday games in and our Thursday games. All right. So next we're gonna move on to Sunday. Sunday we got the Colts at the Falcons. Does Minshew madness continue, or does Atlanta protect their home?
I think it continues. The Falcons are coming off, 2-game loss streak, I believe. So that's not looking good for them. The Colts are 5-1 in their last game, according to this. So they're playing really good.
With Gardner Minshew, by the way, Minshew madness. Falcons just lost the Panthers of all teams last weekend. That was atrocious.
Colts are on the rise and Falcons are on the downfall, so I just got to go with the favorite here and pick the Colts. It's not fun. It's not exciting, but I think it's the right pick.
I think it's a safe pick, too. I'm going Colts as well. Minshew madness, man, it's a thing. It's the new Fitzmagic, man. I love it. I love, quarterbacks with a swag and a mentality, playing with nothing to lose. They know they're not the franchise guy, so while they're in there, they're just going to let it rip and have fun. And I feel like that really brings a locker room together in adversity. And the Colts are just playing with a belief right now. And it's fun to see, man. They've beaten some really good teams. They're on a flow. Falcons, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They keep bouncing around between Ritter and Heineke at quarterback. Kyle Pitts is looking like a bust more and more each season. They got this flashy running back, Bijan Robinson, and it's like, they don't use him effectively at all. They kind of load manage him too much. I hate what the Falcons are doing. I can't pick the Falcons. I picked them last week, and they pissed me off. They ruined a freaking 8-game parlay. It was the only game I got wrong on that because they could not beat the worst team in the NFL in the Panthers. So I got Colts. I'm not picking the Falcons. Probably the rest.
And some anger towards them after that.
Oh, I'm pissed. I can't. How do you lose to the Panthers? Like, they're so bad. Like, that is terrible. That's why I got Colts. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Panthers. Who do you got?
Let's see here. I wrote down all my picks. Where are they on my chart? Packers playing the Panthers. So we were just discussing how the Panthers suck, so definitely going to go with the Packers. Packers haven't been playing the best. They playing in Charlotte or in the Green Bay?
It's Charlotte. Charlotte.
I'll still give it to the Packers. I'll verify this game too. I know it's not exciting to verify, but it's a lock of the week.
Oh, okay. So this is your safe pick of the week.
Yeah, safe pick of the week, yeah.
All right, Sean's willing to verify with his mug on the camera. Back up a little bit. I keep seeing your under your chin. There you go. So Sean's willing to verify the Packers over the Panthers is the safest bet of the week.
And they'll cover the 4.5.
Ooh, you're even gonna cover the spread too. So we got safe pick of the week straight up. We got covering the spread. Wow. I gotta agree with him. I don't see this any different. I know the Panthers got a win last weekend against the Falcons, but it was ugly. It was like 9-6. I don't take that serious. I don't see much potential. Packers are obviously in a transition year with Love at quarterback. He's very spotty. One game he's good, next he's not. But I do like how the Packers are using their secondary young receivers. They got Reed kind of going as well. They're not just relying on Christian Watson. I'm definitely disappointed in Aaron Jones. He's definitely just washed at this point. But, A.J. Dillon still got a little spunk. They got all these young tight ends you can't really game plan for because they're three white guys that all look the same. So I like what the Packers are doing. They're working with what they got while they're growing a young core. Panthers, I just don't see any upside. That's why I refuse to take the Panthers here. Next, we got the Detroit Lions traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you got?
I think I'm going to go with Detroit here. This is definitely a toss-up, but they're both playing really well right now. Dobbs, I don't know. He was on fire the first couple games, but I think he's fallen off a little bit. I don't know if you agree with that.
They replaced him with Nate Mullins.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they started Nate Mullins last week, and then as soon as they lost the game, the coach came out and said Nate Mullins will be the starter next week as well. So,
did you watch the last game?
A little bit, not too much. It was just an average performance. I wasn't very impressed by them. I mean, they kept the game somewhat competitive with the Bears, I believe. But
this is a clinch game for the Lions as well, so I think they're going to come out and try to clinch the NFC West or NFC, what are they?
North.
NFC North.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the Lions need to clinch. They're kind of losing some games that they shouldn't be, especially the Thanksgiving Day game. I was like, bro, come on.
The Pretenders, they definitely don't have a Super Bowl shot.
Well, that's the thing. They're not Super Bowl contenders like some people were hyping and hoping they would be. I think people just have a soft spot for the Lions, seeing Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson just kind of fade off into the sunset with no accolades or hardware. So that's why I think people have a soft spot for the Lions. But yeah, the Lions are pretenders. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl. And
Can you verify that, right?
You want me to verify that? I'm willing to verify the Detroit Lions will not make the Super Bowl this year.
How about out of the first round?
I could see them getting out of the first round. They're going to host a home game potentially. If they're a division leader, I mean, they would get a wild card against somebody. We got to see how it shakes out. But they would have, in theory, I think, a home game. So I'm not going to say they're the Cowboys and lose in the first round like the Cowboys traditionally do, but they're not going to go far. They're not going to the Super Bowl. I can guarantee that. So, Sean got me to verify the Lions will not make the Super Bowl out of the NFC, even though they're probably.
That's a pretty safe verify.
I think it's pretty safe too, but you never know. The NFL, it's all about timing, getting hot, matchups, opponents. But yeah, I got Lions over Vikings as well.
I do like they have that good tight end, don't they? What's his name?
On the Vikings?
No, on the Lions.
Laporta. So they traded Hawkinson away. They used that draft pick to go get Laporta. And Laporta is setting rookie records at tight end. So
he's playing really well.
Yeah, which I thought last season when the Lions, did trade Hawkinson halfway through where they were kind of trying to make a push, I was like, this is a little weird, they're getting hot at the right time. They're getting rid of one of their, more consistent, proven, weapons. But the Lions look like geniuses with Laporta there. I think that's a great move. They just, I don't know, they've been kind of blowing games that they shouldn't, and that when they've gone against top opponents, the Lions just can't hang. They're still a little too young. They're still missing too many pieces. That's why I got them verified. They're not going to make the Super Bowl no matter how good the rest of the season goes. All right. Next, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Sean's Seattle Seahawks. Traveling to the Tennessee Titans. Now, he preluded a little earlier he's going to be a homer here, right?
Yeah, definitely. They're in a hot streak. I think they're playing really well. Allegedly, they're going to start Geno, even though Locke had a really good game. Not a really good game, a really good last game. So I think Geno's been playing really well. In the beginning of the season, he wasn't getting rid of the ball really quick out of the pocket, which was pissing me off. The last two games, he's really taking 1 second to make a decision and getting it out of the pocket. I think their offense is playing really well. They got Kenneth Walker back, and I think he has their defense rolling. He always gets them rolling before the playoffs. I think we're going to make a playoff push. Verify that. Seahawks to the playoffs.
Ooh, Seahawks. Sean is willing to verify that the Seattle Seahawks are going to make the playoffs.
We have an easy end of the schedule. I think we play Cardinals, Titans, and someone else. Pretty easy ending of the schedule.
Wow.
But I think we have some other teams that need to lose. It's a pretty tight playoff race.
Yeah, I mean, the playoff race is definitely tight. I think that's a bold prediction, but I like it. I see where your train of thought is, The big thing with the Seahawks is I feel like they haven't gotten a flow to be a dominant team this season because they've had these weird nagging injuries between Geno, Kenneth Walker. Like, they've been in and out of the lineup a lot. But, that perseverance on Monday night to beat the Eagles, like, with a backup quarterback, like, that was very impressive. Geno's definitely not playing the level he played last year. He was more confident and, in his reads and getting the ball out on time. I think, I agree with that. He's been kind of holding the ball a little bit longer, waiting for things. It's just get it out and let your playmakers make plays. You got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett. I just trust your read and let him go get it, So.
Yeah, or throw it out of bounds. One of the two. Don't take a sack. Right out of the pocket.
He's doing a lot of stupid stuff, and that's why he got hurt. He got injured, holding the ball too dang long. So,
yeah.
you know what? You almost convinced me to switch my pick here. You almost convinced me, but I'm going to go Titans. Titans.
Verify it.
You want me to verify the Titans are going to defend? All right.
And we can bet on this one, too, if you want. I'll give you the points.
Really? You'll give me the points? What's the points? Like 4.5?
Let's see. Yeah, it's probably not. I think it was 2.5.
2.5. So you're willing to spot me the 2.5 on a...
I'll give you 3 points. So if they win by a field goal, we push.
Okay, so if the Titans... if your
Seahawks have to win by more than 3.
So if the Seahawks only win by 3, it's push.
Push, yeah.
All right, I'm willing to accept that bet, and I'm willing to verify the Titans will defend their home turf this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. I am a little nervous of the pick because Seahawks are kind of coming together with their pieces right now, but I feel like, Will Levis has really kind of reignited that locker room. Vrabel is a great defensive-minded coach. Derrick Henry's definitely due a bounce-back game after last weekend. DeAndre Hopkins is starting to look like that top 5 receiver that he used to be. It's hard to say no against the Titans right now, especially at home, and I feel like whenever it's kind of like a tie, you got to go with the home team, and that's why I'm staying with the Titans here, and I'm willing to verify that. So,
all right.
Next, and Sean and me got a side bet of a 3-point spread, so I'm excited about that. So, next we got, these two teams are just terrible with overrated young quarterbacks who they think are the future and just aren't getting it done. We got the Cardinals at the Chicago Bears. Who do you got?
Let's see. I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. Even though they've been playing crappy, I think they've had some close games. They're playing good. Kyle Murray is still playing, right? Haven't been following the Cardinals the closest.
Kyler Murray's been playing. He's been back about 3 games now. That's an interesting take.
I think he's going to get into the flow of things over these next 2 games, and Bears are definitely nothing special. Their defense has been playing good. Fields is so hit or miss, so it depends if he has a good game or not, but it's a toss-up. Is it in Arizona?
It's in Arizona.
All right, I'm going to go with the same.
No, it's Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. I'm still going to go with the Cardinals.
You're going to go Cardinals on the road.
I'm not going to verify it, though. No verify that.
You won't verify that. Okay, that's fine. And that's okay. You can take takes where you're like, you know what? This game's such dog shit. I don't really know. You don't have to stand on your sword on that one. I got Cardinals gonna lose to the Bears. The reason I got the Bears is the Bears' defense has been kind of coming alive. Fields has been playing better. They've won some in-division matchups. They beat the Packers. They beat the Lions. They've been winning some games as of late. They're not a efficient, flashy team, but they're just doing basic shit. DJ Moore either runs a go or a hitch, like every play, and that's it. But, sometimes you have to play simple football, and I think the Cardinals, just are depleted, old veteran team that they had to kind of blow up that team, and Kyler's coming off the ACL. He's not 100%. Both quarterbacks, you could almost argue are playing for their jobs, because both teams, their rumors were interested in Caleb Williams. But I think the Bears have won so many games recently, they're not really in that top 5 pick region where the Cardinals still are. So I think both these quarterbacks got something to prove, but I got to go with the home team. In December, defending the NFC North, I got the Bears beating the Cardinals.
Gotcha. On a side note, is Caleb Williams going to be a bust? I watched him so many games this season. I didn't see anything special. I watched a ton of Pac-12 games. I watched him a bunch. I don't think all he could do is run. He's a decent passer, but He's a great, phenomenal athlete that could run. I guess I don't think the pass game is there for the NFL.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I think, the term bust is objective, right? And it's based upon, what is your expectations of him, right?
He has pretty high expectations.
I think his expectations are too high. So, yeah, I would say he's going to be a bust from the expectations that the fans and the media are putting on this poor kid. I think he's probably going to be a mid-tier NFL starter.
Who do you compare his career to? Or what kind of career do you think he'll have?
Probably like a Trevor Lawrence, just kind of they're supposed to be that guy, but they haven't really taken that step, but they're still young, so you're going to build your franchise around them. But you see when Trevor Lawrence matches other competitors, he doesn't do anything. They might make the wild card here and there, maybe win a division, but they're never going to make a push. Trevor Lawrence, the book's still out. He might, but as of now, I would say Caleb's going to follow that trajectory, Probably a really bad first year. Probably have to switch out the coach or whatever if he doesn't come in with a coach. But I just think he's going to be a meddling mid-tier, 15th-ish quarterback in the league. I don't see the generational Mahomes talent and some of the crazy shit I've heard on sports media. But that's a great question. I think he's just going to be a mid-tier starter. I don't think he's special. As special as
I agree with that.
Which, it's okay to be a mid-tier starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that.
No, I agree. He's definitely no Lamar Jackson, though.
Yeah, he's no Lamar. I agree with that 100%. So we just got done with the take of the Bears. Next, we're going to move on to the New England Patriots are traveling to the Denver Broncos. Who do you got and why?
This is a spicy one. Belichick versus Sean Dayton. Denver has won its last 4 games. But it's in New England, right?
Nope, it's in Denver. It's in Denver. Denver.
All right. The Broncos are still in the playoff race. I think Russ is playing way better this season. I think him and Peyton finally hit a groove. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I've been a big fan of the Broncos as of late.
I think Peyton's kind of alphaing him. Did you see that video clip of him last week of him yelling at Russ?
I didn't. I saw a preview of it, but I've heard that he's checking Russell at the door, and that's basically why they brought Sean Payton in. They feel like Russell has this ego and this selfishness that just rubs teammates the wrong way. You're a Seahawks fan, you've heard all this.
He's too happy-go-lucky to yell at anyone, I think. He's just chewing his gum and smiling, hyping people up. I don't think he has the gall, or it's just not in his personality to yell at someone and tell them to do their shit, what they need to do. Right. I think Payton's that guy.
Which, Pete not checking Russ's ego and narcissism at the door, I think led to the Seahawks dynasty falling apart potentially sooner than it should be. It pissed off Richard Sherman, all those defensive guys. They've gone on record talking about it. Marshawn Lynch had that story that he couldn't even get Russell Wilson's number directly. He had to talk to his agent or something crazy like that. So Russ needs to be checked. He's not as big as he thinks.
He's a great player. He won us a Super Bowl. But the ego is not good. Not good for anyone.
Well, as a leader, as a quarterback, you gotta be relatable and you gotta have your team like you. I just don't. His personality type is not the ideal quarterback. He's too much of a me guy. He puts on the hat and does the go Hawks, go Broncos, let's ride chants. Yeah, he does the chants to the media, but actions speak louder than words. And his actions, a lot of Seahawks came out and were like, dude, this guy, I can't believe he got away with the shit he did with his attitude. He's not a dude. He's not a in-locker room dude. Where, Sean Payton, I think definitely was hired to check his ego, make him, at least somewhat likable in the locker room so the guys want to go to war with him. It flipped a switch, losing so many games at the beginning of the season. Russ had to get better, and he's gotten better. I think the team's kind of rallying around him a little bit more. I like what I see from the Broncos. Unlike the Patriots, they're playing for something. They're at home. I got the Broncos beating the Patriots here. It's sad watching Bill Belichick go out like this, especially when he's playing against other coaches that, are going to be stacked up against him legacy-wise later on. But, Bill got nothing to work with, but it's kind of his own fault.
Is Bill's legacy tarnished? Has Brady won a championship without him? and Brady might have been the main piece to that team. I guess his defenses were really good as well, but Brady definitely was a big piece of his legacy.
So is Bill's legacy tarnished? I think if after this stint with the Patriots, which, it's been leaked that the Patriots are done with him after this season, like he's done. But I've also read that Bill already has an exit strategy and he has something in the works, behind the scenes. So if Bill is done and doesn't play anymore, I think there's always going to be that question. But if Bill does go somewhere, like let's say the Chargers, for example, right? And he gets Herbert to that next level, right? Like gets him a deep playoff push or something. Then I don't think it's as tarnished. I think Bill got to do one more last hurrah in a new organization and get like an elite level quarterback who hasn't broken that bubble yet, to break through and get at least one playoff win. I think if Bill does that,
Herbert?
It's not. I'm hoping Herbert. I want Herbert, but I want to see my Chargers, break through. I've read a couple of rumors. Bill's, on the radar. But yeah, I think Bill got it. He has to coach one more season, and get a 10-win team, and maybe make a wild card, upset. Like he got to do at least that, or we're always going to question Bill after this, because these last few seasons have been terrible. Next we got. Let's see. Browns at Texans. Who do you got and why?
You got the Browns. They're playing really well. They got their offense rolling. Their tight end's playing really good. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Njoku? Is that how you pronounce it?
David Njoku, yep.
Yeah, he's been playing really well there. The running backs are playing good. And I think the Texans have, what's his name coming back off of injury? Stroud. TJ Stroud coming back, but I just don't think the Texans are there yet. I think in a few years they might be a tough team to beat, but I don't think this is the year for them to do much. And the Browns are playing good. Flacco's got that veteran presence, how to win a game. I think and plus their defense is really good as well. I'm going with the Browns.
You're going Browns. I got Browns as well. I love what Joe Flacco's doing. He's stretching the ball. He's making fourth quarter comebacks. He's just showing sturdiness and, resolve, which I feel like, Deshaun Watson wasn't really doing, especially for the paycheck he's being paid. But yeah, the Browns, I got the
verify
Browns.
That's one of the worst contracts ever.
Oh, it's definitely going to go down as one of the worst ones, especially like, let's say they do keep Joe after this, I think the Browns could potentially make a good push. Like, they could maybe make the AFC Championship game, kind of like how the Titans.
Their defense is good.
Right, and the Titans were a defensive team. They had an offense identity late in the season, then they made a push, right? Like, I feel like this is kind of like the Browns season right now. They're starting to get an offensive identity. They have a great defense. Like, I got the Browns. CJ Stroud, I think, is coming off the concussion, I believe, as you mentioned. But, whenever you're a quarterback, you're concussed, and you do get cleared, you're still a little foggy-headed. Like, you're not going to play your best game. And I think CJ Stroud's going to have his best game to beat the Browns, because I think the Browns are one of the teams to beat right now. So, yeah, I got Houston losing at home to the Browns. I agree with that. No conflict there. Next, we got the Commanders traveling to the New York Jets. Who do you got and why?
Do we even need to talk about this game? It's a very important game, but I will take the Jets over the Commanders.
Interesting.
It's a toss-up. I don't have any reason for it. I don't follow either of those teams. They both suck.
They do both suck. So we got to talk about it because I got Commanders.
Oh, do you really?
I got Commanders walking in.
I was looking at a stat. House threw 30 picks in the last 5 games, I think. Or all season, rather.
Oof. Gosh.
Wait, no, not 30 picks. It's he's taken 30 sacks in the last 5 games.
Yeah, but he also is top 5 in the league for yards passing. But a lot of those are garbage time, so I don't take much of it. But, at least
he's getting beat up 30 sacks in 5 games.
That's pretty rough. I feel bad for the kid. He's taking hits like no other. But, the weapons on the Commanders I feel like are a little better. You got, multiple receivers that are kind of mid-tier that do pretty well. Lance Thomas or Logan Thomas has been a really consistent tight end for them. I feel like they have a little more to work with the Jets, especially with the Jets. They don't know who their quarterback is. Is Aaron Rodgers magically healed from his Achilles yet? Zach Wilson.
He's not coming back. They're out of contention for the playoffs, so he definitely won't play now.
I don't think he should, but, it is Aaron Rodgers. He marches to the beat of his own drum. So, I feel like he almost wants to prove the critics wrong. Like, I can rehab when I want to, like, yeah. I don't know. I think it's stupid and prideful, but, regardless of Aaron's in there, Zach Wilson's just, they don't want him. He doesn't want to be there. It's awkward. That's why they try to pull him in and out of the lineup a lot, which is only creating more friction with the Jets. I feel like there's too much friction with the Jets to, like, win a game or, a game that they should be able to beat them in theory, even with a backup quarterback if they have their heads straight. But they don't have their heads straight. I got the Commanders. They just fired Ron Rivera, I believe, at head coach too. And sometimes teams, when you move off a head coach, you kind of like play a little out of your mind and win a game.
Especially when they're playing another crappy team.
Exactly, and that's why I got Commanders winning that one. Next, we got the Battle of Florida. Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you got and why?
I'm going to take the Jaguars. They're playing good.
Are they?
Don't know. Oh, they're playing decent, yeah.
Look at their record. Look at their last, 2-3 games, man. They've lost some bad games.
They're still at the top of the AFC South.
Yeah, the AFC South's terrible. But, yeah, they're 8-6. They were 8-3 before they've gone on a 3-game losing streak, I believe. So
let's see here. Honestly, don't know much about Jaguar football. I've not watched them much. Let's see. So December 17th, they lost to the Ravens. Ravens are going to be in the Super Bowl potentially.
Right, I don't fault them for that one.
December 10th, they lost to the Browns. Browns are a solid team. They lost by 4 only.
But that was Joe Flacco as a backup is his first game or so. So
they lost to the Bengals, which I think Browning went off that game as an OT. I was watching that game. That's a close game. And those are 3 really good opponents, Browns, Ravens, and Bengals. So I'm still riding with that.
But look at their offensive production. They weren't putting up points. I don't think they cracked, 20 at all in those 3 games?
The Bengals, they had 31 against the Browns. They had 27. Ravens, they had 7.
Okay.
Ravens' defense is at least back to Seahawks, too.
Gotcha.
Their defense is really good.
The Jags the benefit of the doubt because of the strength of opponents. You don't really take too much of those 3 losses and that their offense is getting worse each game statistically.
They're both going to be hyped up for the game because they're pretty much battling for the AFC South. They both have the same record.
Well, Bucks are in the NFC. Jags are in the AFC. So it's yeah.
I was looking at the Texans. I was mixing up the red and blue teams.
It's all good. But yeah, the Jags are a good team.
Regardless, they're battling for a playoff position.
Yeah, they're both battling for playoff position. Jags they barely have a lead in their division, right?
Yeah, the Colts are 8-6, Texans are 8-6, so that's pretty close.
Oof, yeah. See, that gap's closing. That's what I'm concerned about with the Jags. They had a big jump and losing 3 games in a row, and these other 2 teams just keep catching up to them. I'm a little worried that they're looking at the standings too much.
It says they're 5-1 on away games.
The Jags?
They're 3-5 at home games. Yeah. That's a bizarre stat.
That is a really bizarre stat. I did not know they traveled that well. Damn, I might need to switch my pick. I don't know. I was gonna go Bucks. I feel like Baker Mayfield's not as bad as people think he is. I think he's a good NFL starting quarterback in that mid-tier range. He has phenomenal weapons to work with Mike Williams and Chris Godwin. The Bucks always have a good defense. It's just their culture. I had the Bucks at home defending home against the Jags when I was looking.
They're on a 3-game winning streak as well. The Bucks.
The Bucks are hot. The Jags are not, and that's why it's I kind of want to keep riding the hot hand. But I feel like sometimes that's a fatal mistake when you're picking games because they got to switch eventually. But yeah, one's 0-3, one's 3-0 the last 3 games. I gotta go Bucks, man. I'm just disappointed in the Jags. I got Bucks.
Is this another betting game? I'm willing to bet on this one.
Well, the Vegas odds said it was an even split when I bet last night. Do you see any spread difference on this game?
It's -1, so we just call it even.
Even? Ooh, it's a bet game.
It's 1 in the Jaguars' favor, but
I gotta decline your bet, man. I'm not too confident in this pick. I feel like it's a pick 'em, and I'm just gonna pick the hotter hand. So we got Dallas traveling to Miami. Who do you got and why?
I'm going with Miami. I don't think Dallas is going to be able to contain Miami's offensive firepower. They got Tua, Mozart, Achane, Waddle. I'm not sure if Tyreek Hill is back. They don't even need him to beat Dallas. Dallas won't be able to stop their explosive offense. I think Dallas is contenders. This is another verify game for me. I think Dolphins are going to show their dominance, come out, and pretty much show the Dallas are contenders this season.
Wow. The Dolphins are favored by 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate the Cowboys. Trust me. I'm like the biggest Dak hater in the world, but he's been playing pretty efficient. Tyreek, when I've watched the Dolphins games, when he's not in the lineup, their offense just gets very stagnant, which is weird. And Waddle's been a little banged up in and out of the lineup too. Atchain's been in and out of the lineup. I just feel like the Dolphins have a couple weird nagging injuries with their speed guys. They are at home though, which helps them because they're more of a warm weather team. They don't travel well in the cold, so they're not in the cold. There's no, turf conditions or anything that the Dolphins need to worry about. I gotta go with the Cowboys here. I was a little disappointed in Mike Daniels' play calling on Monday night. When he didn't milk the clock and let the Titans crawl back on him. I don't know. I'm questioning his genius after that. The Cowboys do have a good defense. Micah Parsons didn't get home very well last week. I think he's due a big game. So, I think he could rattle Tua a little bit, hit him, maybe concuss him again. And, I can see that game spiraling out of control pretty fast for the Dolphins because they are coming in with nagging injuries. Mike is going to be hungry to get home. Bland, is balling at corner. If there's only one receiver out there between Waddle and Tyreek, I think he could probably hold them down. The run game is way better with the Dolphins, though, and they're at home, so it's kind of hard to say the Dolphins are going to get dog-walked or anything. I think it's going to be a close game, but I got to go with the Cowboys. A little bit better defense, and the Dolphins have too many injuries for me to feel confident in that take.
Is Tyreek Hill supposed to play next week?
Great question. I don't know. I think he's probably out. He was out, I think, last week, or he's going to be out this week. Even if he plays, he's going to be a shell of himself. I watched him try to play through that injury, and he was just limping around.
It's a high ankle sprain. That's a tough injury to come back from.
He's not playing. And if he plays, he's going to be a skeleton of himself. That's why I got the Cowboys. If everything was even and they were healthy, I got Dolphins. But just due to the injuries, I can't believe in the Dolphins right now. I got to go Dallas. They're the healthier team. All right, next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Arrowhead Stadium to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you got and why?
Man, the Raiders have been playing really good, but I think the Chiefs have the Raiders' number. According to my stats, the last 6 meetings, the Chiefs have beat the Raiders by an average of 17. So I think the Chiefs just have their number, and I think they're going to beat them.
Wow. Even though the Raiders dog-walked the Chargers 63-0, or whatever it ended up being at the end, but... Chargers look like dog crap. That's true. They are dog crap.
That game didn't mean anything. I think the Chargers quit after the first quarter probably.
I agree.
I think it was already 21-0.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, it just spiraled.
And I think there were like 7 minutes left on the clock, and it was 21-0 in the first quarter possibly. Yeah,
it was atrocious. Yeah, the Raiders, they are the little brother to the Chiefs, I feel. I think there's this nostalgia of, this is the team that's the best team in our division, and I feel like teams sometimes play scared when they play against in-division opponents. If this was in Vegas, I'd maybe say the Raiders might have an upset, because the Raiders, if they win at home. They don't win on the road.
Yeah.
Raiders are using a second-string quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't pan out. They're using O'Connell. I love the weapons on the Raiders better. I love Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs. They're way better talented skill players than Mahomes has. Kelsey's limping around, and he's not really playing the way he should be. He's focused on...
They should have never got rid of Tyreek Hill. That was a bad mistake.
It's a terrible mistake, and it's starting to bite the Chiefs in the ass. They lead the league in drops. The Chiefs are a new team. They're not the dominant, flashy offensive team with a mid-tier defense. They're now a defensive team that you just hope their offense and Mahomes' greatness will show and make a last-second drive. But the Chiefs keep games ugly. They don't put up 40 points anymore like they used to, So I got the Chiefs, but, I could see the Raiders keeping this somewhat close this time. I don't think they're going to get dogged by 17 like they normally do. I think this game might be a little closer. What's the spread on that game?
10 points. Wow, that's kind of surprising. That might be a good bet.
Yeah, if you're into trying to find the shock picks, I think the Raiders could maybe cover the spread this week. I think people just assume Chiefs, Super Bowl, Mahomes. They've been dogging the Raiders nonstop, but the Raiders have a new culture with a new coach, Antonio Pierce. They're playing out of their minds. They took care of business against an opponent on paper that had the same record of them and embarrassed them on national TV last week. So I got the Chiefs winning only because it's home, but it's going to be ugly. It's going to be like 2017. I don't think the Chiefs are going to beat them by 17 and dominate them like they have in the past. So if you're looking for an upset of covering a spread, Raiders might be a good pick here, I think.
I agree with that.
All right, next we got 2 Monday Night Football matchups. First, let's go with the NFC.
Potential Super Bowl matchups, too.
Ooh, you think these are Super Bowls? Okay, well, I agree with that. Let's go with the NFC first. So we got the NFC East battle of the Giants traveling to the cold Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you got and why?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. They're going to be pissed off after coming off that rough loss to the Seahawks. I think they need to get back on a winning streak. They're going to be looking for revenge against the Giants. I don't know. Have you watched DeVito? I haven't watched him. A lot of people are hyping him up and saying he's the real deal. I haven't watched the Giants game since he's been there.
I've watched a little bit. He's basically Daniel Jones without the mistakes and a little slower. Like, he does turn the corner and run when he needs to. He's efficient with his throws. He's just a really good game manager. That's
a good quarterback of Daniel Jones without mistakes.
Well, yeah, Daniel Jones, he has the upside, with the speed. Remember that one primetime game?
He's a great athlete.
Yeah, great athlete. Straight line speed. He was going so fast. He got logged at 26 miles per hour in pads and tripped over his feet, and missed the walking touchdown. And I don't know. And then they had that good season. They barely made the playoffs. They upset the Vikings. And then Daniel Jones got paid. And they didn't pay Barkley. That's just dumb management. I don't think Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. I think he's just a good athlete. But DeVito, honestly, I kind of like him more than Daniel Jones. He doesn't do the bonehead things. He plays within himself. It's kind of like a poor man's Brock Purdy. He just does enough. He doesn't throw contested balls into double, triple teams. He doesn't make bonehead mistakes and just throw it straight at the linebacker when they drop to cover 2. He just plays, efficient. They've won some games recently, but I got the Eagles, too. Even though they're a little cold, they've lost some games. That primetime game is super embarrassing. They had that in control and just lost to a backup. That's got to hurt. I am a little scared, though, about the Eagles. I think there's some locker room tension issues. I don't know if you saw Hurts' comment after the game, but he basically, which I don't like when quarterbacks do this, and I think quarterbacks only do this if there's really a big fundamental issue within the team. But Hurts called out his team, and he said, I don't think everybody is as committed as they should be. And I'm just like, you're the leader of this team, so are you saying you're not as committed? Because it all starts with you, and he has been playing through a knee injury, but I don't know. I don't like when quarterbacks call out their teams like that, especially when they're losing games, What do you think about that?
Yeah, I watched that whole Seahawks game. I mean, he definitely didn't have the best game. He could have played better, I thought. He missed some throws. But I think they're always a solid team. They have the tush push. This interesting play. They always succeed on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. Have you seen them do the fake tush push?
Yeah.
They ran that against the Seahawks. Cool. That was a great play.
They have a couple of variations out of it. It's really cool. Yeah. They'll be in the formation, that jet sweep will happen, or jet sweep to a double throwback. I've seen some really cool shit. I've watched a lot of Eagle games. They're exciting. Yeah. I really like it.
I've never seen any of the variations of it. That was pretty cool. Caught me off guard.
The Dolphins tried to copy a variation of it, too, and so did the Chiefs. The Eagles are reinventing the wheel, but, just kind of like the Dolphins Wildcat back in 2009, sometimes you start this thing, it's really cool during the regular season or whatever, but then towards the end of the season, everybody else can copy and figure out how to stop it.
I mean, all these teams know it's coming, and they still can't stop it.
No, I think it's a pretty unstoppable play. I don't think the NFL should ban it. I think it's just you use what you got, Other teams try to duplicate it, and they don't have the same success, so you shouldn't punish the Eagles because they know how to do it better than other teams.
Did you see Kelsey get the false start because he's moving the ball forward? I think Pete probably saw it on tape and told the refs to watch that.
Yeah.
I wonder how often he's been doing that.
Well, Kelsey came out afterwards, and he's like, yeah, I've had coaches tell me, like, the refs are going to call that eventually on me. So he took a lot of responsibility and blame on that. But, yeah, I mean, it is a little awkward, the motion. And maybe that's why he gets such a good push because, I mean, that whole play starts with him. He dives down, just levels out all the defender's legs, and then, Hurts just goes over the top or crawls through or pushes through. But, yeah, I got the Eagles. They got to bounce back. They were my NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl. So, them or the Niners, I was kind of debating between the two. But I think they're going to be an NFC championship team. Just on paper, I am concerned they've lost a lot of games. But, they have had hard opponents, and, the Seahawks game I thought was in the bag. They should have had it in the bag. I'm glad I cashed out my parlays when I did. I was just like, I don't know. Something's just off with this team right now. I don't like it. So, I saved my parlays cashing out early.
There you go.
I got the Eagles. Next, talking about the other NFC champion, potentially. We got the 49ers hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Game of the week. Game of the week.
Maybe a Super Bowl preview, some say. What do you think?
I'm going to go, it might be a little biased since I'm a Seahawks fan and I hate the Niners, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think their defense is amazing. And Purdy's going to see some looks that he hasn't seen before. I think they're going to hopefully shut him down, and he's not going to have a very good game. And I think the Ravens' offense is very good. Their tight end's playing good. I picked them up in fantasy. If Lamar Jackson's rolling, he's on a good roll, and I think they're going to take down the 49ers. It's going to be an upset, too. I think the 49ers are favored, I believe.
Yeah, I think by 5.5. Typically when you're a home.
Is it that much?
Yeah, it's like 5.5, I think. I was kind of like, whoa. Like, I think this is kind of a field goal, like, differential type game, It's just basically who gets last drive is what I felt.
And I also saw another good stat. Lamar Jackson is 16-1 against NFC teams.
Ooh, yeah. Lamar does, and the reason for that is NFC teams don't see him, So it's like they only get one shot to play against them. It's hard to duplicate what the hell he does in practice. So you don't really get to see the game live speed that, like, some in-opponent, or in-conference matchups get to do with him. Ooh, that is a good point. Lamar does play very well against the NFC.
16-1, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow. I got 49ers here. They're at home. I feel like whenever it's a home game, I think it's like, 63% of the time you win. I feel like both defenses are kind of a draw. Purdy, I believe, is a better passer than Lamar. I watched Lamar live when he came and played the Chargers. He only put up 20 points against the Chargers. And, the Chargers have some veteran pieces, but, if you've been following them all season, their defense is dog shit, and
yeah.
They lead the NFL in third down conversions converted against them and shit.
This will probably be the best defense that Purdy's played all season, I think.
This would be a harder team, but, McCaffrey is just unbelievable. He's in his prime, 20 touchdowns or something crazy this season. It's just so easy for a quarterback when your running back's that dynamic as a runner and a pass catcher. The Niners relatively are healthy. But yeah, Lamar, when I watched him in person, I was a little disappointed in their red zone offensive execution. This is before Mark Andrews got hurt, I feel like they stalled out and settled for a lot of threes against the Chargers. Lamar, I don't know. He just doesn't.
That was the beginning of the season, wasn't it? I know.
It was kind of like a week 5-8 range, kind of in the middle of the season.
I feel like they weren't playing the best.
Ravens, I'm a little concerned. They're not really executing the red zone as efficiently as you'd think they would with a mobile running quarterback. Mark Andrews, their best red zone threat's out. I got 49ers. I just feel like they're just a little more solidified of a unit. They punch it in the red zone. They're efficient when they do decide to throw the ball. The Ravens, I just have a couple question marks, and Lamar is not as dynamic in open space as he used to be. I watched him live. his unanimous MVP candidate year when he went off against the Rams, and and then I saw him play live again with the Chargers. You could tell some of those lower body injuries are catching up to him. He's slipping on cuts sometimes, even in open space, which he used to not ever do. But yeah, I got the 49ers winning this one at home. So that's a tough game. I think that you can go kind of either way. I think this is maybe.
I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I think it's the game of the week to watch. But yeah, we just went through our week NFL 16 picks. Thank you so much for hopping on, Sean. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me.
You got some really fun verified takes. I like them. So I'm excited to see how you stand on some of these takes, man. That's some bold.
Who were my verified picks? I think the Raiders. No. It's Saints. Seahawks, maybe?
Yep, Seahawks. And then did you verify
Dolphins?
Or Dolphins, that's right. It was Dolphins, yep. And I'll send you a recap of them, too, and we'll keep track of your stats. But, some really good ones. We got a side bet, too. And, this was exciting, man. Good way to catch up. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to turn off the main cameras so we can shoot the shit for a little bit. Appreciate you, Sean.
All right.